Talk to me. Played the horn of the Lord and served other gods. Remember the days of old, we the lost tribes. They don't believe the Bible, they say a white man wrote it, but still celebrate them holidays from white men, don't they? Like Christmas and Thanksgiving appetites. I don't even see my closest family half the time. Going out ain't an option, I won't compromise. I got integrity and more heart than Valentine. Kyrie tweeted a book they sell on Amazon, owned by the same folks that told them to apologize. Remember slaves couldn't read, wasn't allowed, so it's meaning when I tell you I'm black and I'm proud. Murdered us with the sword, that's how we learned religion. Community standards violate my First Amendment. Discontinue from my heritage under these bastards. Life a bitch, they make up lies and give you public lashes. I understand they confused by who the devil is. Why my people get so mad when I tell them this? Valley of dry bones, my niggas skeletons. It's hectic out there, hope you checking on your relatives. Brotherhood, that's where my weapon is. And I never let these crackers take it from you. Real talk, you probably never heard this all of your life. Be careful, cause that thing you love, it'll cost you your life. Long as we got each other, my nigga. Cause we build this shit on brotherhood. Long as we got each other, my nigga.
Yeah.
We build this shit
nigga,
on
I done lost family, I done lost friends. Day one, niggas thought was riding to the end. Still showed up, put in that work. Hide behind a smile while I'm walking with this hearse. Some nights I felt alone, most nights I felt cold. Some nights I drove around, I ain't wanna go home. Nigga, I ain't never been, nah, I ain't never fold. Follow orders like a soldier doing what I'm told. Even when the council wasn't making any sense, I ain't never doubted, I just put it to the test. Days I was fucked up and down to my last cent. Reaching in my pockets, only coming up with lint. I'm talking even on the days that I couldn't pay my rent. I put it down for my brothers, ain't spared no expense. If I ever got bent, caused an offense, please forgive you, brother, Lord, that ain't what I meant. See that brotherhood a weapon, fight against deception. When something taken from you, then it's just a blessing. Shorty really loved me, gave me everything she got. And I'm sorry, baby girl, if I ever broke your heart. Man, mistakes that I made, don't know if they'll fade. Moving with a heavy heart, living with the pain. Take away the shame, wash away the stain. Praying to the Lord for the days that I was Cain. Sheesh.
Long as we got each other, my nigga. Cause we build this shit on brotherhood. Long as we got each other, my nigga. Cause we build this shit on brotherhood.
Shalom, shalom, shalom. We're in live the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, Christian Captain NATAZACH Shah under command of General Yohana, ISUPK, Virginia. Most High in Christ. All right, all right. Get it on, get it on. Shalom, shalom. We got in here, shalom, sisters. All right. The sisters in attendance, the brothers in attendance. Most High in Christ. Y'all by Shemel Shah Rakatham. Yahweh Shemar Alathan by Shem Shah. All right. All right. Most High in Christ, Most High in Christ. Everybody, moment to get in here. Shalom, sisters. Shalom, shalom. All right. As we got each other. Look, this on brotherhood. All right. So we continuing from last week. What does the Most High consider captivity? What does the Lord consider captivity? What does the Lord consider slavery? What does he say that it is? Who remembers where we left off last week? Who remembers what we talked about last week? What does the Lord consider? Y'all come on in here. Shalom. Shalom. Yahweh Shemal Atah Shah. All right. Let's see who remembers. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Where we were. Shalom, shalom. Y'all should break it down. All right. All right. Talking about what does the Lord consider captivity. Last class, we went over what the Lord calls captivity. We were talking about slavery. We were talking about, you understand, the other nations of people being amongst us. Talked about how the Lord wanted wanted our people to live together. That's something that's a big symptom of slavery. Commander Junior said this. I'm sure he said it numerous times over the years, but I know we said it. You understand that all blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, we need to all only be in a few places. Captivity, captivity put us in different places. It put us in North, South, Central America. It put us all over. But in reality, here, especially here in America, which is the land of the North, that the Lord said we're going to be delivered from, we should all be living only in 5 places in America. All of this, we in living in, some of us over here, some of us in LA, some of us in Georgia and Atlanta, little pockets here and there, little neighborhoods, communities here and there. There's a large Latino community over there. It's a large Mexican community there. It's a large Ephraimite community over there. It's a lot of Levites, a lot of Haitians over there. We are all supposed to be living in the same place. You understand? That's one of the biggest problems that we have as a people, is that we are spread out. You understand? In your mind, you may think it's a normal thing, like, hey, we go to see our family in the Carolinas, or we're going to go visit, our family in Colorado. And it's a small town of black people in this city in Atlanta, and this city in Georgia somewhere, some town somewhere. Brother was telling me, he said, my family down in Southampton County, and we drove down into this place in the absolute middle of nowhere with wonderful gas station food, I might add. You understand? It could have just been the sister in the kitchen cooking the food, but the food was excellent. In the middle of this nowhere town with 100 miles clear view in every direction, just road, gas station, and fields. Well, we are not supposed to all be living in different places. You are not supposed to grow up somewhere where you are separate from all our Latino brothers and sisters. You're not supposed to be living, you're not supposed to grow up without Mexicans, without Issachar, because many of the tribe of Judah, I will use as an example because I'm a Judite. You understand? Let's just do a test. I'm going to ask Suk, since we got a classroom full of brothers and sisters here. We got always a NATAZACH. Give him a hand. NATAZACH in there. We got Brother Trey. Brother Trey is in the class. All right. Sister Shakal is in here. Ayun. Sister Aina is in here. Our all-star team. Sister Tawaba. You understand? Sister Raya. And Sister Shelley. We got Imadar. Sister Shelley. Sister Yaquar. You understand? Joining us there, we got Sister Deborah, Yagadar, Hadassah. All right, Most High in Christ. We got a good amount of brothers and sisters in here. When you grew up, you understand, for you brothers and sisters that's in the class, whoever watching, when you grew up, who here went to school with Native Americans? Who went to school with Gadites, with Cree? You understand? With Navajo, with Cheyenne, with Sioux and Lakota. Who went to school with Native Americans? Anybody? Just by a show of hands, let me know. Who went to school with Native American brothers and sisters, Native American families? Who went to school with them? When you went to school, it's like, yeah. This is James. James is from Harlem. He from Brooklyn. This is Ricky. Is Ricky here? He from down the way. I'm from 3 doors down. And that's Kiki, that's Tierra, that's Shamia right there. And we all from you understand. You went to school with Native Americans. Okay, Tower Bob, that's kind of cheap. Because you're a Gadite. But I'll give you that. But for the majority of Thawada, most brothers said here. Most brothers, this is what most brothers and sisters said, right? Everybody said la. One sister said Khan, only a few, only a few. I went with blacks, but I had Indian in their family, but not full. Yeah. So most people know. Well, you were supposed to go to school with Native Americans. When you're in the classroom learning about history, learning about math and science, and being socialized with all the people that's a part of your community was not supposed to be missing some of your people. You were supposed to go to school. I asked another one. How many people went to school with Mexicans? I asked Native Americans. How many people went to school with the tribe of Issachar? You understand? Had Mexicans in your class, Jose and Carlos and Maria and Raimundo. You understand? How many people went there? How many people went there? Nancy and the Castillos and Sorianos and Maldonados. How many people? You did all right. All right, Most High in Christ. We got one no. We got some cons. All right. Viva la raza. We in there. Issachar, right? Y'all went to school with Issachar. Get down. Most High in Christ. All right. All right. How many people went to school with the tribe of Levi, the so-called Haitians? Ephraim, the tribe, the so-called Puerto Ricans. Were there a lot of them? Y'all saying, Con, were there a lot of them? He said, I did. Blacks and Mexicans had their own cliques for the most part. You understand? All right. They did. All right. Y'all did. Most High in Christ. Okay. All right. Well, for many of our people, Con, but a few. Okay. Only a few. A few. All right. A few. A few Latinos here, a few Latinos there. All right. Well, that's good. That's good. Here is everyone saying a few. That's a problem. Now, let me ask you this question here so that y'all can see. Okay, well, Texas is Mexico. So Most High in Christ is supposed to be there. Good. The water. Good answers. Give yourselves a hand. Good answers. Good answers. Now, how many black people did y'all go to school with? Anybody went to school with black people? Judites, Benjamites, Levites, people who the rest of the world who is not in the truth would consider to be black people. How many people went to school with them? Anybody went to school with black people growing up? Middle, elementary school, high school, y'all went to school with black people growing up? How many? Y'all went to school with black people. Just give everybody a chance. Y'all went to school with black people. All right, all right. Hey, shalom, brother. Y'all shim brother. All right. I went to school with black people. Give everybody opportunity. All right. Come in here. Right, right. In here. In here. All right. Should be long enough. All right. All right. Good answers. There you go, sis. All right. Yes, you did. See, black people, con 90% black people. All right. A whole bunch of black people. Con, a whole bunch of black people. Whole bunch of black people. Con, everybody grew up with a whole bunch of black people. I do every day. All right. Black people everywhere. Good. All right. Now, here's the problem. Mostly Judah, right? Your people are not all black people. All 12 tribes are black people. But as far as the world is concerned, black people does not include so-called Native Americans and Latinos. The majority of your nation, the majority of your race, the majority of your people are not the tribe of Judah. They're not the tribe of Benjamin. They're not the tribe of Levi. They're not so-called Negroes. Those are just 3 tribes. So-called Dominicans are Simeonites. It's a lot. So-called Central American brothers and sisters, El Salvador and Guatemala and Honduras. Those are the tribe of Zebulon. So-called Puerto Ricans are Ephraimites. So-called Naphtali, you understand? From Argentina to Chile. So-called Asherites are Brazilians, Colombians, Venezuelans, Bolivians, Peruvians, Uruguayans. You understand? So-called Mexicans, Issacharites. You understand? We have 12 tribes. The majority of our tribes, the majority of our people are not so-called Negroes. The majority of our family is so-called Latinos. You understand? That means you would not expect Chinese children to grow up separate from Chinese culture. You would expect them to learn their Chinese language, to learn their Chinese history, to keep traditional Chinese values with their families. You would not expect Arab children to grow up without traditional Arab values, to have traditional Arab gods, to have Arab beliefs, to speak their Arab language. You would expect these things of these people. If you saw a lion, you would expect that a lion be able to climb and hunt and stalk and roar, Shalom, Lord in Christ. You would expect these things of a lion because this is what it means to be a lion. If you saw birds, you would expect a bird to be able to fly, to be able to make a nest, to know how to deal and function around other birds. Well, here is a symptom of captivity. We, as 12 tribes of one family, we have been scattered because of captivity. We're in slavery. The only reason that you grew up separate from the other tribes is because we are in captivity. You understand? And that's something, man, I'm trying to see where to start before I get to the scriptures. That's something that is a symptom of captivity. We aren't supposed to be in different places. You aren't supposed to live or have different life experiences culturally that is separate from the Mexicans, that's separate from the Puerto Ricans, that's separate from the Haitians. You understand? We are all supposed to have the same experience. We are all supposed to have the same upbringing. We are all supposed to have the same rules. We are all supposed to have the same beliefs. And we are all supposed to live together, have families together, be raised together, have communities together. Because we're in captivity, when people address us, they'll say the Native American community, the Latino community, the Hispanic community, the Black community. You understand? The urban community. They don't say the Black community. They like to say the urban community, the hip hop community. They got a bunch of names for Black because everybody can be included into being Black if you stand next to somebody Black long enough. Then you just end by default, like damn DJ Khaled in French Montana, or Kamala Harris or Barack Obama. You just stand next to Black people long enough, they'll just accept you in. You understand? That's a symptom of slavery. That's a symptom of captivity. We're going to go to Egypt. We're going to go to Egypt, and we're going to start. Do I want to start at 5 or do I want to start at 1? We're going to go to Egypt, the first chapter. We're going to start at 1. We're going to go to the book of Exodus, chapter 1 and verse 1. We're going to deep dive into slavery. You understand? We are not supposed to be separate. Understand that if you did not grow up, not with a few, not, oh, there's a family there, there's a family there, there's a couple of them there. You were supposed to grow up with as many so-called Mexicans, Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, El Salvadorians, Haitians, Brazilians, Colombians, Bolivians. You were supposed to grow up. We were supposed to grow up with just as many of them as we did with so-called black people. We weren't supposed to see or grow up or have our growing in life experiences and develop into our culture and society with other nations of people. If we were not in captivity, we would only be around us. It would only be us. You understand? So we were raised as a people. All right. So now we're going to go to, but here in captivity, we're supposed to be together. That was the point. I want to just make sure that this is clear, because when we were in our land, every tribe had a specific land. And I just want to make sure that I explain that so that everybody is on the same page. So all the 12 tribes had their own land. There was a land that belonged to Issachar. There was a land that belonged to, Judah, to Benjamin, to Simeon. Every tribe had land except for Levi. Levi did not have their own land. The Levites lived in everyone's land because they were the priests. So the 12 tribes or 12 families lived amongst their tribes. You understand? When we were in our own land, we lived amongst our tribes. We had a land inheritance. That did not mean, that's why it has laws in the Bible about the stranger that is among you. So when brothers and sisters come from different tribes to different lands to different cities, we had rules on how we had to deal with a brother or sister that was out of town, whether they were from our tribe or from a different tribe. Mind you, we were always 12 different families. You understand? We did not all have the same skin color. We did not all have a specific skin color, a specific hair texture, a specific lip thickness or nose fatness. We didn't all have the same 4C hair and afros and bright dark skin or whatever. We didn't all have the same looks necessarily, but we were the same people. We had the same laws, the same rules, and we had a way that we were supposed to treat and deal with each other. So I just want to make sure that that's clear. Here in captivity, where we are now, we are all supposed to be together. We aren't supposed to be in pockets here and there. The only people that's supposed to be separate from where we all are is the people that have to be kicked out from amongst us because they want to be wicked, because they want to sell drugs, they want to live an alternative lifestyle, they want to be a witch, they want to serve other gods. You understand? They want Halloween and Christmas and vote for their leaders and interracial marriages, things that are an offense and a crime that the Lord would not allow you to be amongst us, because you would destroy our family, which is ultimately what ended up happening anyway. That's why we're not in our land and we all in captivity here in America and all throughout the Caribbean and Central South America. All right. Primarily. So, we're going to go to Exodus chapter 1, and we're going to start with Exodus 1 and 1. It says, let me see if I'm not fighting, pull this up. Exodus 1 and 1 says, now, these are the names of the children of Israel, which came into Egypt. Every man and his household came with Jacob. Mind you, every man, these are the names of the men, and their household, their family, meaning it was more people than just these men. These men is who was in charge of the families that's going there. And that's a very important thing to also learn, that you are called by the house of your father. Your father is in charge and responsible for the family. You don't see so much written about making sure you know that a woman cannot be in charge, is not supposed to be in charge of the family, the cities, the community, the resources in the Old Testament, because the idea that any woman would be put in charge is such a foreign thing that until our society is wiped out and we are forced to take Greek culture and no longer even acknowledge that we are Israelites, which is why we have Hanukkah, the wars of the Maccabees fighting against the Greeks, who forced us by the time Christ comes around that the Jews could not call themselves Jews, but we had to become Hellenist or Greek speaking Jews. That's why when you get to the New Testament, Paul says to the Jew first, and then the Greek. The Greek is referring to the Jews who made Greek culture and their language our own because they would hang us from trees or make us fight lions if we didn't. The Grecians, Grecians, this is usually denotated in talking about the actual Edomites who are Greek. The Greek, the so-called white man that later became the Greeks and the Romans. All right. Just so that that's cleared up. All right. So now we're going to Exodus chapter 1. Just we're going to Exodus chapter 1. Much better. There we go. Exodus chapter 1 and verse 1. It says, now these are the names of the children of Israel which came into Egypt. Every man and his household came with Jacob. Reuben, Ra'aban, the so-called Seminoles. Simeon, Shemaiwan, the so-called Dominicans. Levi, the Levites, or Loyah, the so-called Haitians. Judah, or Yahawada, so-called Afro-Americans. Issachar, or Yashikar, the so-called Mexicans. Zebulon, the brothers from Central and South Central America. You got Panama, Costa Rica, the natives of Guatemala and El Salvador, Nicaragua, Honduras, Belize. You understand? The tribe of Zebulon, Benjamin, so-called West Indians. You understand? All your most of your West Indian islands. You got your St. Lucia, your Croix, your Virgin Islands, Kitts, Nevis, San Martin, Barbados. You understand? Trinidad, Jamaica, Grenada. You understand? The tribe of Benjamin. Then you got Dan. Dan is no longer a tribe amongst us because Dan was too small. They had too few sons to continue on as a tribe. So they later got folded in amongst another tribe because that brother Dan, he did not have enough sons to continue his lineage. That's why it says every man and his household. Later on, Levi replaced Dan's spot. All right. Naphtali, the brothers from Argentina to Chile, the natives down there. Gad, the so-called North American Indians that are not the Seminoles, which is the rest of the Native American tribes. And then Asher, the brothers from Colombia to Uruguay. You got your Brazilians, Bolivians, the Inca Empire, Peru, Bolivia, Ecuador, Colombia, Uruguay, Paraguay, Suriname, Guyana, all of that down there, all those natives from down there, the tribe of Asher, and all the souls that came out of the loins of Jacob, because all of these are the children, and the children that they have come from Jacob. The loins reproducing from his seed were 70 souls, 70 of us in total. For Joseph, which was Jacob's youngest son, who is the father of Ephraim and Manasseh. Ephraim being the so-called Puerto Ricans today, Manasseh being the so-called Cubans today. They were already in Egypt. They were born in Egypt. All right. Then verse 6, it says Joseph, or Yahweh, meaning the Lord added. Joseph died. and all his brethren, meaning all those brothers we just named, and Joseph, they died. And all that generation, everyone was born with that generation when we first got there. All 70 of them, they're gone. But they had children. They had sons, they had daughters, and we began to multiply in the land of Egypt. This is very important. I always stress this, one of my favorite scriptures. You understand? Remember the days of old. Consider the years of many generations. You got sons, you got daughters, you got kids, you got babies. Make sure that they're here learning in these ISUPK classes. The only way that they're going to learn their history and their heritage as to who and what their people are and who and what they are supposed to be and who and what they are not supposed to be is in these ISUPK classes. Because Sexy Red has an idea of what your daughter is supposed to be. Megan Thee Stallion and Cardi B have an idea. The Democratic Party has an idea of what your son is supposed to be. You're supposed to identify as a woman. You're supposed to be taught about a sexual identity as a little kid in kindergarten with some damn child abuser confusing the hell out of all the kids. So make sure they're in these ISUPK classes learning to get the spirit of the Lord put on them before you send them to school where Satan's spirit will be put on them by default. All right? It's just as a sidebar. Make sure y'all bring them babies up in here. All right? And no sidelines in the world. All right? So now, in verse 7, it says, the children of Israel were fruitful and increased abundantly. We were supposed to increase abundantly. Right now, they're telling you to stop increasing, to wipe out your babies. In the same breath, they're saying we need more people to register to vote. But you've unalived all your voters with your Planned Parenthood and your abortion. You understand? Like, it's completely backwards. We got strong and powerful and multiplied. We had families. We made sons and daughters. We had families. We multiplied. Very important. And waxed exceeding mighty. That's what we were doing before we integrated with America. We got stronger and stronger. We made our own schools. We made historically Black universities. For you young brothers and sisters, HBCUs, like Virginia Union University in Richmond and Virginia State in Petersburg and Hampton University and Howard University and Bowie State and Norfolk State and Bethune-Cookman, you understand, and Jackson State out in Mississippi and Morehouse and Prairie View, you understand, all of these schools in Lincoln, Cheney University, Morgan State, Coppin State, you understand. We made historical Black universities. They're called historically Black because once we joined our oppressors that God told us not to do, we stopped making Black universities. We stopped repairing and maintaining the Black universities that we already had. You understand? Reports of mold, parking lots falling apart, the dorms is falling apart, the grounds is not being kept and taken care of. Like, we lost the love and care that we put into things for ourselves because we did something that God said we were never to do. And because our people have done this as a whole, following leaders, you have to retrain your spirit to section off your love for things that the other nations are able to benefit from us because we don't have the spirit of the Lord. You got to retrain your brain how to function with the spirit of the Lord. That's the purpose coming into the truth. Now, it says, and the land was filled with them. The land is supposed to be filled with us. Now, here's what happened. Now there arose a new king over Egypt, which knew not Joseph. Egypt gets a new king, a new leader, a new ruler, a new pharaoh that's in charge, or a new president. He didn't know Joseph. Joseph interpreted Pharaoh's dreams. Joseph was able to save Egypt from economic hardship and financial ruin because of famine that was coming. That's why we left our land in the land of Canaan to come down to Egypt, because our land ran out of resources because of a famine And the Lord wanted us to go to Egypt because in the long run, we were going to leave with the wealth and the power of Egypt once the Lord delivered us. You understand? And the Lord's reputation and our reputation for being the people of the most high God in the earth was going to be strengthened because of how the Lord was going to deliver us from the world superpower of Egypt. Same way he's going to do for delivering us from America. All right. So let's see. Bear with me just a moment. It's another scripture. I'll get real quick. G-O-S-H-U-D. Goshen. All right. So, Joseph. Goshen. Only the land of Goshen. Goshen. Bear with me. I want to get this scripture. I want to show you what happened when we got there and why this happened. Jared's father, Goshen, it just said Joseph said his brother, Canaan men of shepherds. This is important thing. This scripture is very important before we move forward. In Exodus, the first chapter, we want to just take a step back to Genesis, the 46th chapter. And I want to show you something because this is what we were supposed to do. I want to show you something. You understand? Genesis, the 46th chapter. I want to highlight this scripture because I want to show you. This is when we first came into the land of Egypt. All right. It's listing our family, all the sons. You understand? All the sons that came from Reuben, his sons. You understand all of these things here. This is listing the brothers, just so you know. There's a record. It's a record of all of these things. Sons of Issachar, the sons of Leah, all the sons, you know, what sister gave birth to these brothers, the mom, that would be the grandmother. All of these things are listed. The daughter of Jacob, he had a daughter named Dino or Diana, you understand? And all the souls of his sons and his daughters were 30 and 3. You understand? Jacob bare all of these children, a lot of names and stuff here. We don't need all those names, but this is the point. There's a record. This is another very important thing about being free. All right, everybody give me a 1. Let me know y'all still with me, all right? Keeping records is the mark of a free man. That's why so much of our lives as a people is out of order. As a people, being able to keep your records is important. Who was born where? Who's the mom? Who's the dad? Who's the grandfather? Who's the grandmother? What land do you come from? These things, I was just talking to a sister earlier about this, some sisters earlier today, that who your father is and what stock, what lineage you come from matters. The woman does not carry a seed, but women carry the culture. You understand? The first few years of a baby's life, up until they can walk and talk and go to the bathroom, for the majority of the time, a baby is going to be with who? Who's the baby going to be with? All right, y'all still with me? Most High in Christ. Who's the baby going to be with the majority of the time? I want you to be able to see so I can paint this picture as vividly as possible. Who is the baby going to be with the majority of the time? If you have to go back to work and you got to go to work and you got an opportunity and you need to find someone that's going to be able to take care of this baby until you get back off of work, who are you going to look for? Are you going to find the construction site brothers building houses, roads, and bridges and say, I need you to watch my baby, I got to go back to the office? No. The majority of the time, the baby is going to be with the mother. She's got to nurture the baby. She's got to breastfeed the baby. She's got all kinds of things that a baby needs from a mother that they cannot get from dad. That's a real black answer, Yagadar. That's a black answer, with grandma. You wrong as hell. You right, but you wrong. They're gonna be with grandma. Right. They're gonna be with grandma. That's right. They're going to grandma. Grandma used to be the safest bet. Or you're gonna get somebody else's grandma, or somebody else's mom, or somebody else's aunts, and you're gonna pray that they take care of your baby like a mother would. Who are those people called? They're called the daycare. You understand? They're called the daycare. Hey, shalom, sis. Y'all small thought you me shot. They called the daycare. That's who's going to be able to take care of the baby and be patient with the baby and help the baby walk and give all the hugs and kisses and rock them to sleep and naps and you understand and change them and everything and make sure they fatten up and fed and get their medicine and tummy aches and headaches. Child care providers. Well, men aren't child care providers. Nobody's going to you understand a nice house full of men saying, "Here, y'all watch these kids while we go to work." Nobody. That's not what anybody's looking for. Are they for the sisters in the child care profession? How many men is doing the child care, the baby child care? How many men is in y'all profession with y'all? For you understand, for a little money of any of that. All right. There's a lot of men doing child care. I'm not talking about a brother taking care of his own kids. Because statistically speaking, according to the Bureau of Corrections and the teachers and the court system and law enforcement, that the children are much better off with the father or the mother and the father. You understand? Very few. I don't know. I'm not giving, I wouldn't be giving any children, some nigga to watch the children. They're gonna have to go to their uncle. You understand? But you know, you for the most part, you're hoping that you're going to rent someone else's mom to mother and care for your children until you can come back and get them safely and take them back home. Well, all right, shalom. Right, exactly. So that's the point there. But it's listing these things. Hey, shalom. All right, Most High in Christ is listing these things here that there's a record. A part of being free is you have to be able to keep your records. You have to keep up with the medical records, the insurance cards, who did what, the business records, your property records, your tax records. You got to be able to keep up and manage your things. A part of being in slavery is not knowing the importance of managing your records, who you're making children with, who their parents were, what is their DNA, what is their health, what are these records. All of these things is who you are making the next generation with. This is why the Lord told us never make children with the other nations of people. You understand? Don't take their gods, their customs, don't marry into them. Not only do you dilute the holy seed, even though only the father carries the seed, but now you'll have heathens raising Black, Latino, Native American children to join and take the customs of another nation of people because she is not a part of our family. She's a part of the family of the Ethiopians, of the Egyptians. You understand? Everybody understands. So this is a part that's important and it can be overlooked. That's why I wanted to go back to Genesis, the 49th chapter. Not having the records as to who grandfather and grandmother and all of these things are. That's why they sell that 23andMe garbage and that Ancestry.com garbage. The Lord said we would discontinue from our heritage. That is a punishment. That's a curse. That's why we are all putting our heritage back on at the same time together, going back to being the children of God, because He caused us to discontinue from our heritage. All right. That's in Jeremiah chapter 17. As a matter of fact, I want to pull that Jeremiah 17:4 real quick. That the Lord scattered us, we discontinue from our heritage before we continue on in Egypt, because I want y'all to be able to see that scripture that because we disobeyed the Lord said, this wonderful heritage that I gave you of being my people, now I'm going to take it over. I'm going to take it back. The Lord said, even thou and thyself shall discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee. Every other nation of people has a heritage that they made up for themselves. But our people, our heritage comes directly from the Most High. Nobody else has their heritage from the Lord, and not the children of God. You understand? He said, and I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in a land which thou knowest not. And we here in a land we don't know. That's why last class we went over. We paying for water. We paying for food. We paying for, you understand, things that are supposed to freely be provided to us because our people have land and resources that you're not supposed to have to buy. Slaves have to buy these things. This is what the Lord called captivity. This is what he considered slavery. We went to camp in Ocean City, and some disgusting devil German shepherd broad came up against us at the camp spot saying, are you in slavery? Were you in slavery? Well, according to God, we in slavery right now. You understand? That's why we're going over this. And the Lord said we kindled a fire in his anger. We made him angry that will burn forever, meaning it's going to be almost forever. Such a long time we've been under the Lord's anger because we disobeyed him and we still disobeying him. That's why when we come back to serve the Most High in the ISUPK, in the truth, we put on our heritage, then the Lord gets pleased with us. You understand? He starts to destroy the other nations. Another reason why the Lord told us we were supposed to be separate, because he getting ready to destroy them. So now we're going to go back to Genesis chapter 46. Oh, most High in Christ. Yeah, damn right. Most High in Christ, man. Had to deal with them, man. Evil bastards. They hate to see our people be free. You understand? That's why the Lord despises them, and they going into captivity after the Third World War. All right? Damn right. The what? Most High in Christ. All right? So now, so we're in Egypt. These are the records of all the children that we came into Egypt with. Everybody's there who died, where they were buried. All of these records are businesses. The heathen did not bury their dead in the ground. The Egyptians put their dead in the tomb and sarcophagus. The heathen put their dead in the water. How many people ever seen them Viking shows? All them rough Viking shows and them Viking shows where they out in the fields doing battle everywhere with Uhtred and all of them Game of Thrones and all of that stuff. Well, the heathen did not bury their dead in the ground. The Lord told us to put our dead in the ground. The heathen put their dead, they put them out to sea, and then they shot arrows and burned their body up on a floating stack of hay, spreading all kind of diseases and dumped the bodies in the water. That's how you spread diseases. That's how you get bacteria outbreaks and plagues. The heathen dumb as hell. The Lord says somebody died, take them, put them in the dirt, cover the dirt up. Make sure that place is somewhere far away from where everybody else is going to be. Don't let people keep walking through the damn cemetery. Don't stay in the cemetery like a tourist attraction worshiping the dead. You understand? Like they do in New Orleans. You a damn tourist visiting the cemeteries because the damn graveyards is all decorated like a tourist attraction. That's against the Lord. That's a heathen culture. We don't worship the dead. The Lord is not the God of the dead. He's the God of the living. You understand? So when we go here, we'll be at 751. Okay. When we go here, these are the sons. This is their mother. This is where they from, where the babies was born. All of these things, America, the heathens took and made records. That's why they got a division of records. These are things that free men have. They got a division of records. They got a thing called the Division or the Bureau of Vital Statistics. Where you're born, where you get your birth certificate, who's your father. They have something where you are a man, you will be given a staff, and you could not come into the temple to make an offering or sacrifices or anything if you did not have a staff. And on that staff, it was rolled around and it had the lineage of all the men in your family to get up to you. Your father, your father's father, your great-great-grandfather, all of these things. That's why when you open the Bible, it may seem like it's pointless. When you go to Luke, the 3rd chapter, it's listing the lineage from Christ all the way down to Adam. When you go to another chapter, I think Matthew something is listing the lineage from Adam all the way down to King David to show why Christ is the son or sit on the throne of King David, because his father Joseph is in the lineage of King David, and all the generations before, every prominent male member of that family to reproduce the seed of who you see today. Who your father is the most important thing in life. That's why Christianity and religions teach a slave to tell you about mommy and grandma. You understand? That's a symptom of captivity. All right. So now we're going to go forward and get to this point here. We're going to scroll down. Genesis, the 49th chapter. In the land of Joseph, who was born. These are the sons. These are their names. Now, born in Egypt, 70, brother 40 years old, we in Egypt. Now, Joseph had power and authority in Egypt. I believe he was akin to being second in charge in Egypt up underneath of Pharaoh, but he's another race, another nation of people. You understand? He had a very high-ranking government position in Egypt, even though he was not one of the Egyptians. They knew he was not an Egyptian, even though his job or the power that he wielded in captivity put him as a part of being in the Egyptian government. All right? So he had power and rank amongst these heathen. He sent Judah before him unto Joseph to direct his face to Goshen. And they came into the land of Goshen. Goshen, we can read about Goshen before we go back to Exodus, the first chapter. This is very important. We want to read about. It says, Joseph made ready his chariot. He got a special chariot because he got power and rank in Egypt, and went up to meet Israel, his father. His father's name is Israel. Israel, of course, is Jacob. After he wrestled and fought with the angel blessed him, broke his hip, changed his name to Goshen. Now, he's sending for the rest of the family. And he fell on his neck. He hugged him. He wept the neck a good while. He cried. He's so glad to see his son. And Israel said unto Joseph, this is the father saying to his youngest son that he thought was passed away, now let me die, since I have seen thy face, because thou art yet alive. Saying, I don't want to go to my grave not knowing if my son is alive. He said, now my youngest son is alive. I know it. I can give up the ghost now. I found my son. He's alive. Oh, man, this is wonderful. The brother was so happy. And Joseph said unto his brethren and unto his father's house, I will go up and shew Pharaoh. I'm going to show you to Pharaoh. Now, if Joseph was some old trader, because he's sitting in Pharaoh's house with the wealth and power of Egypt, like Diddy, you understand, or like all of these rich, prominent figures who get to sit next to our oppressor, and now is given a position of power because of their gifts or their ability that the rest of their suffering, starving, desperate people do not have, that they need the benefit of the power that you wield in this empire to take care of them. But if you have a spirit that they're not my responsibility, we all got to get it how we live. I got it out the mud. You got to pull yourself up by your bootstraps. They illegal. They runaway slaves. They Seminoles. They Indians. We Americans. We Egyptians. I'm not one of them. They don't act like us. They don't have my education. They don't have this wealth and this status. They're not going to know how to act around here. Like that evil spirit to turn your back on your people that Christianity puts on our people, Joseph did not have that spirit. That's why the Lord honored and loved Joseph. Moses did not have that spirit. That's the spirit the Christian church puts on our people. You understand? That's why in Romans, the 15th chapter, it says, 12 and 15, it says, mind not high things, but condescend to men of low estate. You understand? That's why the Lord said that don't be concerned. Be concerned about your people. They just trying to eat. They trying to have a place to live. They trying to not be in the streets and be homeless. You worried about running for who gonna be the goddamn president, and your people sleeping on the streets. You understand? That's what's supposed to be your concern, not the damn political campaign for who gonna run the presidency. You understand? It says, be of the same mind one toward another, mind not high things, but condescend means lower yourself to men of low estate. They have a low estate because they're being driven from their home because our land is filled with famine. This is how they're supposed to be met when they come from Haiti, when they come from Brazil and Venezuela and Mexico and wherever. They're supposed to be met with their people who have been gathering up resources and storing love and consideration and patience and kindness that we are supposed to store like you would store in a warehouse, so that when we meet up with the rest of our family, we have things prepared. We have a space prepared to give them what's for our people. That's what every other nation of people does. You understand? We're supposed to have that. Instead, we've given everything we have over to integration, and the other nations have robbed us. So now we starving in America and blaming other poor brothers and sisters that America brought in strategically to make everybody hate the rest of our tribes, to hate the Benjamites and the Levites and Asher and Zebulon, to paint them as the villain in the news. Why? Because this is how you join everybody else to despise us. You understand? And of course, we fall right along into it thinking that we are part of America. All of that is because of captivity. At no point were we ever supposed to believe or think that we were a part of another nation of people. We're supposed to know we're in captivity. We live in a separate place. We have separate beliefs. We serve a separate God. We have separate high holy days. All of this makes us a people. You understand? All right. Shalom. So now we get down. Joseph is giving us instructions. He said, go to Goshen. Now we're going to read this. We coming, everybody from back home, we coming up here to live in this land of Goshen. And this is what he said. And the men, did he say this? Go to Pharaoh. Now he's telling them, giving them instructions. Say this to Pharaoh. He's telling them with his Egyptian power and education, this is specifically how you are going to play the game here. Don't think that these people love you. Don't think that you're on their side. Don't think that they're going to accept you as one of them. This is what you do. This is how you play it. And Joseph said unto his brethren, he gave his people instructions, and unto his father's house, I will go up and shew Pharaoh. I'm going to show y'all to Pharaoh. I have a high reputation in this place, and I'm going to show you to Pharaoh and say unto him, this is what you tell Pharaoh, my brethren and my father's house, my whole family, all of our people, which were in the land of Canaan. This is where we come from, and are come unto me. This is my family. We all here together. I need to get something set up for my family. You know me and my reputation. You know how I get down, how I take care of Egypt. This is my family. We got to do something right by them. This is while Pharaoh was still alive. Remember, we were in Exodus, the first chapter, and in Exodus, the first chapter, the Pharaoh that knew Joseph and loved Joseph, he dead and gone. Just because one heathen shows you favor, that does not mean you're a part of their people. That doesn't mean you're one of their family, because they didn't bust you upside the head with a brick like Martin Luther King because they said good morning or waved to you or gave you a piece of sandwich. You understand? That does not mean you're one of them. That does not mean you give your love to them. That doesn't mean you give your soul to them, that they are now one of you and they can come to the cookout and bring them in your house. And you, maybe they're not so bad. Maybe I should celebrate Halloween with them. Maybe I should vote. They aren't to be an influence to change the rules and laws that God put inside of you. The problem is we have not been raised with God's rules and laws because we've been listening to traitor Christian preachers like the civil rights leaders and every preacher that's alive today. This we have to fix. That's why it's important you learn these stories and your children learn these stories. You got some baby that can't see, can't talk, bring them in here and set them in front of these classes. Baby's been sitting watching General Muhammad scripture breakdown classes in a what's the thing you put the babies in the car seat? In the car seat. They're sitting there, and then one day they meet General Muhammad. Is like, I've been listening to you since before I could walk and talk. I know you, but I never met you. You understand? Like that's the right spirit to be in. The prophets of God are back in the earth, and we are all gathered in one place. There's no reason that you should be alive in the earth and your family is in the ISUPK, and you are not somewhere listening to the prophets of God in the earth. There's no reason whatsoever. None. You understand? So now we're going to go back to when we were in Genesis, the 46th chapter. He's telling his brothers what to say to Pharaoh. And he says in verse 32, and the men are shepherds, for their trade have been to feed cattle, and they have brought their flocks and their herds, and all that they have. And it shall come to pass when Pharaoh shall call you and shall say, what is your occupation? That ye shall say, this is what you tell him. What do you do? What is your job? Mind you, we come in to live in Egypt. Our brother Joseph has a reputation, but coming to live in Egypt, they not thinking like, well, you just gonna come be a part of us and join the society. The heathen gonna ask you, what work can you do for my empire? What benefit is it for us that we allow you and your people here in our land? Because that's what a free man thinks. That's what a ruler thinks. You're not just showing up here just to move in and then everybody gonna just welcome you. Who the hell are you? Where do you come from? What do you do? Who are all these people that's being let into my empire? You understand? That's why he's telling them what to say. And this is what we must train our minds to think. How we must think and understand that the other nations of people, they are here to do a job. Even if they're kind to you, even if they smile, they say good morning, if they're your teacher, your bus driver, your co-worker, they are here to do a job. Just because you may have pleasant experiences, that does not mean you are to give away your soul and your love to them for kindness. You understand? Plenty of our people get deceived with that thinking that everybody is the same because they don't have the same burning crosses on the lawn, lynching, hanging us from trees that our foreparents and fathers endured at the hands of our oppressor. That doesn't mean that they're not still our oppressors because you had a good personal experience with them. You understand? All right. We're going to switch over to the other channel. All right. So just continue over to the other channel on Instagram. All right. Y'all bear with me just a second. All right. So lucky y'all. Give me just a moment. Time for some tea. Weather change. Hot, cold, hot, cold. Get your ginger. Get your teas. Get your medicines ready. All the above. It's been summer. It's been winter. It's been fall. All in 1 week. Stay ready. Stay ready. All right. While we load that back up. Finishing up. All right. Switch over to the next one. Okay. All right. Close that Romans. So this is what he's saying. In their mind, they want to know, what is your job? What work do you do? What benefit are you and your people to my society, to my Egyptian empire that I'm running? Since you're going to be here, and this is something that we would not think. What benefit is it to my Norfolk community, my Richmond community, for all of these East Indians and Africans and Arabs, what benefit is it for us, for one of a people who is not our people, to be here living and gathering resources and things amongst us, taking from us in our land? What benefit will this be to our people? That is what Pharaoh's concern was. That's why he's telling them, you understand? We as a people would not think like that. We wouldn't think, hey, what have you done for me lately? We say, oh, they suffering, they hurting, they poor, they starving. Let's help them out. Let's open the door for them. Let's welcome them in. Let's give them a piece of our community. Let's share with them. Let's support them. Heathen don't work like that. You're not supposed to do that. If we weren't in captivity, we would not need to support another nation of people in their business. They would not be allowed to have a business in our communities. And this was the concern that Pharaoh had when we go back to Exodus, the first chapter, because they are not in captivity. They think like free men. And I'm going to show you how you're supposed to think, how freedom is versus how we've been trained to think, because we are in captivity according to the Lord. All right. So he's saying in Genesis 46, this is what you tell Pharaoh in 34, that ye shall say, the servants' trade have been about cattle from our youth, even unto now. We've always been shepherds and cattle herders, both we and also our fathers. Why is he talking about his fathers? Why do they keep mentioning our father, our father, our fathers? Because your identity of who you are and who you will be, who you can be, who you used to be, is always going to be tied to who your father is. We are the people of God in the Bible because of who our father is and what our fathers did. This is how our reputation was built. This is who we are. That's why they keep asking. Everybody saying, my father, my father. Don't forget that. He said, I'm going to read it again, verse 34. That ye shall say, thy servants' trade have been about cattle from our youth, even unto now, both we and also our fathers, that ye may dwell in the land of Goshen. You're going to get your own place to live. Here's why. For every shepherd is an abomination unto the Egyptians. They didn't like agriculture. They didn't like sheep herders and goat herders and bull wranglers, cowboys. They didn't like them. Like, we were disgusting in the sight of the Egyptians. This for everybody that you've ever been taught to worship Egypt and all of that in ancient Egypt and ancient Kemet. The Egyptians despised, they couldn't stand us. You understand? Even though they were melanated people like we were melanated people, they had brown skin like we had brown skin. We were not the same people, and they absolutely hated us. This is the Pharaoh that did love Joseph. Why did he love Joseph? Now, this might be a bit complex of a question, but I want to get y'all thinking. Why did he love Joseph? What did he love about Joseph? There's a few different answers. I just want to see y'all thinking along with us. There's a few different answers. Why did he love Joseph? Yeah, right, brother. The water, brother. Your comment didn't show up, but I see it. I see it. The water. Why did he love Joseph? What did he love about Joseph? Why did he love Joseph? There we go. Okay, y'all pouring in. Most High in Christ. Was it his advice? All right. He was able to interpret his dreams and he saved Egypt because he read his dream. He did interpret his dreams. That's correct. Joseph knew the mystery to the Most High. Well, he was able to interpret the dreams. He didn't give him the mystery of the Most High, but he did interpret his dreams. The secrets to the mysteries of the Lord are not for the heathen. But I think I understand what you mean. He loved him because he knew the Lord was with him. The heathens did not acknowledge our God. That's a good guess, but not quite. Interpret his dreams. That's right, sister. Joseph was beneficial to his kingdom. And this is something you must understand and put this in your spirit. Joseph was valuable to him. Joseph was beneficial to his kingdom. There's something that happens to us in captivity that it can be easy to overlook if you aren't the one that gets left in Canaan. It can be easy to overlook because you don't have a vantage point to see more than someone who sits up high. That's why the Lord said, charge them that are rich in this world that they be not high-minded, but condescend to men of low estate. He said that, blame them that have the power because they are able to see up high. They have a higher seat than us down here at the bottom. They have $1 billion seats. They can see the whole field. We can't see the whole field. We can barely see what's going on in the game, but they can see above us. That's why the Lord rose up the prophets and gave them the ability to see even beyond what the powerful and the rich could see, because they weren't concerned about taking care of the poor, and the Lord rose up men who would. You understand? Charge them, blame them that are rich in this world, in this society, that they be not so concerned with their riches that they forget about their people. Uncertain riches in living God who give us thus richly to enjoy. Your riches are not just for you. You understand? That they do good, be able to take care, willing to distribute, ready to give away wealth and all of these things there. That's what it's talking about. They do good things and good works, willing to distribute, willing to communicate, not cutting you off, sectioning you out so that you can't get to them, so that you don't have access to what you need and the power and the authority that they wield in this empire. Joseph and Moses were not like that. That's why the Lord loved them and honored them so much. These many generations and decades later, we still talking thousands of years later about Joseph and Moses. That's how much the Lord made sure that they were honored in the earth forever for what they did in standing with the Lord and taking care of his people. This is what he said. They're going to ask you, Pharaoh's going to ask you, what is your job? What is your trade? What do you do? What benefit are you to my empire? Joseph was loved because Joseph was beneficial for Egypt. Joseph knew that even though he was beloved of Pharaoh because of what he did for Pharaoh's empire, Pharaoh did not love him. Pharaoh didn't love him. If Joseph was one of these brothers who was a sheep herder, because that's who his people are, Pharaoh looked at them as an abomination. He would not have loved Joseph if Joseph could not have taken care of his empire and made sure that they didn't lose during the famine. He was useful. He used Joseph, and Joseph used his influence to take care of his people. That's how we got into the land of Goshen. The Egyptians despised Joseph, and they despised Joseph's people, and Joseph was not trying to make them love him. He wasn't seeking love. He wasn't trimming his ways to seek love from the Egyptians. He stood with his people. He died. His people honored him. Egypt honored him. And now we are set up in our own land, in the land of Egypt. Now we're going to go back to Exodus. We'll go back to Exodus now, the first chapter. All right. Exodus, the first chapter. We're going back to Exodus, first chapter and verse 1. So now we learn about Joseph. We in here, everybody getting born. Joseph died in the verse 6. All his brethren died. Everybody that came over initially, the first generation Egyptian citizens, they came over. It's a lot of the children of Israel. We everywhere. We get strong and powerful. The Egyptians worshiping the cow. We over in the land of Goshen, raising the cow, making bad leather, bad garments. We getting strong. We eating beef. We doing construction. We work in agriculture. They can't stand the fact we raising sheep and cattle. They trying to live the vegan life. They can't stand the sheep and the cattle. We having steaks and ribs, ribeyes, Angus burgers, porterhouse. You understand? We having all kind of sheep and lamb and curried this and fried this and grilled that. We living good in Goshen. And the Egyptians despised us. You understand? They despised us living good in Goshen. All right. Now, in verse 8, it says, there arose a new king over Egypt, which knew not Joseph. He didn't know nothing about Joseph. Joseph took care of all of Egypt. He rise to power, benefiting from the work that Joseph did. But he don't know Joseph. But he did benefit from the work that Joseph was doing to keep Egypt strong. You understand? Remember that. Had Joseph given all his soul and his love away to Egypt and didn't look out for his brothers and sisters and his people, and they would have been struggling in Egypt trying to find their own way, the next king that came, he still would not have cared that Joseph betrayed his people. He would not have cared. He wouldn't even know who the hell Joseph was. It would mean nothing to him. You understand? And the king is in he's ruling over Egypt. And he said unto his people, we living in Egypt now, but we not his people. He know it, and we know it, and Joseph knew it. You understand? He said unto his people, behold, the people of the children of Israel, them over there, are more, and they're mightier than we are. They're stronger than us. They're super predators. They're bad hombres. They're the bad element in the neighborhood. They're illegals. They're the migrants. They're tearing up our cities. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the pets. They're eating the cats. They're taking over the cities. They're full of rapists. They're gang members. They're the worst of the worst. They're bad people. They're from terrible places. This is what the Pharaoh is saying. All of that that's a symptom of captivity. He said they're stronger than us and there's more of them. Now we got to pass legislation so that we can systematically destroy them. This is what the CIA did. Our oppressor was afraid that we were getting too strong for his white strength. They put us in slavery. They beat us. They castrated us. They lynched us. They burned our cities down. They wiped out our identity. And with no identity at all and no education, with little crumbs from society we had, within a few generations, we were more married than them. We had better scientists than them. We had less resources. But one generation had no shoes, barefoot on a dirt road. The next generation was making shoes. The next generation was making roads and shoes and schools and all of these things. And they saw our upward trajectory and they said, we got to do something. Because if we had this type of power, we would oppress the other people. We got to stop them from being so strong. And they did exactly what America did, exactly what the Midianites did. Y'all remember those prayers in Psalms, the 83rd chapters that we say every high holy day, every Sabbath service. You understand? Psalms, the 83rd chapter. As to Sisera, as to Jabin, at the brook of Kishon, which perished at Endor. Make them as dung for the earth. Make their nobles like Oreb and like Zeir, who said, let us take to ourselves the houses of Yahweh in possession. They had to pay for that. You understand? Their bodies had to lay in open fields like feces from a cattle, from a horse, as they got slain by the Most High and the armies of the Lord for the evil that they would do to us if the Lord had not given King David an order to wipe them out. Make no mistake, that is the only way we get free from captivity. It doesn't happen with a vote. It doesn't happen with a compromise. It doesn't happen with more education, getting smarter, making more money, moving out of the neighborhood, integration, interracial marriage. We've tried every other avenue except obeying the Lord. We get free when Christ returns and chops heads off. The angels come and shoot laser beams from UFOs and vaporize entire militaries. All the armies and governments of our enemies. That's how we get salvation. That's the only way it has ever happened. That is the only way it will ever happen. Not saying for us to do it here. This is what salvation is. This is what Christ is bringing. This is how we get free from captivity. This is why World War III is brewing in the Middle East and everyone is getting sucked in. You understand? So now, this is what the Pharaoh says. The children of Israel are more than us. They're mightier than us. Now, while we're in Egypt, how are we looking at the Egyptians? And this is a lesson. It's a very important lesson. How are we looking at the Egyptians? What do we think about Egypt? We living in Egypt. Let's get some answers. I was Yaga Dog. I want to answer. A more mighty than us. Come on, y'all. Let's get some answers. All right. Sister Shakal, like they better than us. Like they better than us. Right? We looking at the Egyptians. We seeing big statues of Pharaoh. We seeing the cities of gold. No, we not looking at them like an oppressor. How do black people look at America? We don't look at America like oppressor. That's why we go on the street and say we're being oppressed. Our people is like, no, that's not true. We free. When you a slave, it's 2024. We can vote. We can see this here. This is my white brother. I'm gonna go hug a white man. See this here? We all the same in here. We brothers and sisters now. Looking up to them. Yes. We're looking at the Egyptians and how great and their statues and the Ankh and Horus and Ra and the great cattle. We looking up to them like they're great. They looking at us seeing how strong we are, how big we are, how powerful we are, how much sons and daughters we raising up, how we stronger, we smell better, we look better, we smarter. It's more of us. We got sustainable food source that we raise. How the hell you feeding everybody if the people you despise raising the food? What the hell are you feeding people? We over here strong, full of bull, full of testosterone and goat and all manner of crops and agriculture. And the Egyptians is over there looking down on us while we make the empire rich. We strong as hell. They scared as hell. We didn't think we were as strong as they thought we were. They knew how strong we really were. So they had to pass legislation to destroy us. Verse 10 says, come on, let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply. And it come to pass that when there falleth out any war, that they also join unto our enemies and fight against us. So get them up out of the land. Get them up out of here. Pack them up. Wipe out their communities. Wipe out their cities. Destroy them. Pass legislation. Flood their communities and neighborhoods with drugs. Commander General Yohana taught, he taught and explained that in ancient Egypt, they were feeding us bread and syrup. It was a mixture of like a beer, and it was a brew of like a beer and the lotus flower. You hear rappers talking about lean and sipping syrup and Waukesha and Waki this and promethazine. Well, in ancient Egypt, they had a drink. It was a mixture of the lotus flower. It was like a beer, like a syrup that we were drinking. And we were in Egypt getting high and strung out. while the Egyptians were oppressing and extorting and beating the hell out of us. While we looking up to them like they so great and we so wonderful to be a part of Egypt, they looking at us like we filthy and disgusting and they want to destroy us, even though we were stronger than them. And that's really what they were afraid of. All right. So they said, come, let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply and it come to pass that when any war falleth out, that they join also our enemies and fight against us. Now, why would they be concerned about us joining an enemy to fight against them? Because that's what America was concerned about. Remember Public Enemy? Those of y'all who might be old enough to know in the history of hip hop, a lot of the blackity black groups and Public Enemy, they started to call each other comrade. Remember that? Comrade, comrade, comrade. Who remembers that? They talk about fight the power. Professor Griff used to talk about that all the time. They talk about comrade, comrade. Who remembers that? Y'all might not be black enough to remember that. I don't know how black y'all were growing up. Okay, you okay? You was blackity black growing up. Who else remembers? How black was the rest of y'all? Y'all died black or y'all were full black? Okay, Yagadar, you remember? Okay, you black. Who else was super black? That's it, just them two. All right, you was black back then too. All right, all right. Well, for those y'all go ahead and answer. I'm gonna keep moving for time's sake. But for they called comrade because they were in league with the Russians. They figured that if they joined America's enemy, the Bolsheviks and the Russians, that the Russians would supply them with the ability to fight against America by helping them to further the blackity black movements in America that were anti-US government, which was anti-white, because the oppressor was beating and lynching and unaliving us and sicking dogs on us with sundown towns and blatantly racist by American government policy. You understand? So that's what ended up happening. That's another reason why they were so against a strong Latin America, because Fidel Castro joined and sided with the Russians. You understand? With the Russians, and they were pushing communism. They were more in favor of communism in Latin America, in certain countries. That's where Che Guevara comes from. In certain countries, in Venezuela, a communist country, they were afraid of the spread of communism, which was the enemy of democracy and capitalism, because in their minds, the Russian oppressor would treat them better than the American oppressor. They figured that one brother would be better than the other, not realizing they're two of the same family. In the middle of their family beef for control over the world, our people figuring we're going to play one side against the other. And this is exactly why Vladimir Putin attacked Ukraine. Because if you make an ally state like Ukraine was going to join NATO, if you make an ally state, that means that because they're your allies, you can now set up a military base in this land. And because you can set up a military base, you can now set up military missiles. And if anything falls out in this land, it will be as though you are attacking the United States by attacking their ally, because the United States has bases on that land. It's a NATO territory. You got a protective agreement that if a war falls out here, that the United States and all the rest of the NATO allies are going to help you fight this war. So it's in essence, you'll be at war with America and the rest of NATO's allies, with American missiles posted on your border in Ukraine, which Putin did not want. Nobody respected it. Putin started a war, the same reason that America started a war all throughout Latin America, to stop the spread of communism, to wipe out the rest of the natives, to help out the rest of the white Spanish conquistador families. In what's going on here? Battery. Hold up. Zalaki, y'all, bear with me just a moment. Get in there. Shalakia, hold up. Yes. Just a moment. Just a moment. Let's start going. Yeah. Cut off. Just a moment, y'all. Sure. So this is what he was saying. He did not want any of those allies to set up shop in the middle of their land. But the question that I asked y'all that I did not get an answer for was why were the Egyptians? I see nobody answered that question. Why would the Egyptians, okay, a couple of them, why would the Egyptians be concerned that we were going to join another nation of people if a war fell out? Why wouldn't the Egyptians just think, well, of course, they're Egyptian citizens like we Egyptian citizens. So why wouldn't they just join with us to help defend Greater Egypt? Why wouldn't they join with us to help us defend Egypt and fight for glorious Egypt, which is our homeland? And we all Egyptians here. Why wouldn't they join with us? Right. They knew how cruel and oppressive they were to us, that they knew that if they get the opportunity because of how bad we treated them, there's no way they're not going to join our enemies. There's no way they wouldn't turn on us and attack us. That they knew that they were going to face retribution if they got an opportunity. They knew that, well, these children of Israel, I know for a fact they're going to turn on us. They waiting to get revenge on us for how cruel we've been to them. I know they want revenge because we would want revenge on us if somebody else did the evil things that we doing to them. I know they're gonna take their opportunity for sure. Like that's how cruel the Egyptians were. And then they said, well, we got to get them up out the land. They're trying to get us out of the land. Meanwhile, we've been building the cities. Verse 11 is going to tell us. Now, verse 11, it said they did set over them taskmasters to afflict them with their burdens. They built for Pharaoh treasure cities. We built treasure cities, entire cities, like Washington, D.C., like New York City, you understand, like Richmond, like Norfolk. We built entire cities. The city was just a treasure filled with all kinds of scenery and sights and wonderful architecture and wealth and beautiful statues and idol works and all kind of stuff that made Egypt wonderful and glorious because they were afflicting us. Why were they afflicting and oppressing us? Because we were making too many babies. We had too many children. We had too many wives, too many families. We were too strong. We were able to eat and live. We weren't in survival mode under heavy oppression. We were able to live life normally. We didn't have taskmasters, supervisors afflicting us, clocking us, double, triple taxing us, working us to death, passing policies so that we have to now work much harder than everyone else in the empire. We didn't have to do that. They passed legislation by policy to make sure that life was slavery for us. We weren't at home. You understand? So now, verse 12, it says, but the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew. And they were grieved because of the children of Israel. They were sad to see us prospering. The oppressor, it hurts them. General Muhammad explained that it hurts our oppressors to see blacks and Latinos happy, to see us with family, see us having babies and children and having wives and marriages, to see us with full families and communities. It hurt them. It makes them sad. It makes them depressed. That's why they were burning down our cities. That's why they were lynching the black families and store owners and burning down the farms and destroying our cities and towns, because we were better than them at every way possible. It hurt them to see that when they did their little baseball, they came and saw how baseball was really played. They seen what it was really like to play baseball. Then they went back to see their people play baseball. They seen a bunch of people doing layups and, hitting 3-pointers. Then they seen dunks and alley oops and crossovers and no look passes and behind the back and windmill 360s and the Jordan pose with the hands up and dunking on people and sitting on the top of, you understand, the white boy back, because he don't know he getting crossed up, he falling on the ground. You understand? And it made them sad because they felt inferior. They seen that they couldn't produce good, strong sons like Jose can, like Issachar can, like Ephraim can, like Judah can. They seen that they were infertile, that they couldn't have children, that they needed extends to be able to have proper relationships with their woman, that they had to go and buy fake rods to have sex with a woman because theirs was too inferior to deal right with that woman. That's why they woman on the goddamn boardwalk in Ocean City trying to have sex with us, the whole camp. She's standing in front of her husband, turn up and grab her tail. I know y'all like white women. I know y'all like white women. Come on. The husband is there. I'm battling the husband. She there trying to have sex with everybody in the front of the camp. The whole camp. You understand? In front of her husband. You understand? They knew they were inferior. That's why they need steroids. Some young 15-year-old brother start lifting weights and hitting the gym. He's twice the size of a regular average white man before he take whey, before pre-workout and creatine and steroids and HGH in the food and growth hormones in the food and in the vegetables and the soil and shots in his foot, shots in his butt, shots everywhere so he can get filled with testosterone that he himself cannot produce. They see you're stronger. They see you're taller, you're rougher, you hit harder, you're faster. You know how to talk to a woman. He don't know how to talk to a woman. He don't know how to deal with her. That's why he's catching all kinds of sexual harassment lawsuits. And Donald Trump talking about just grab him by the box. You don't know how to have a man-woman conversation. Our tribes know how to talk to a woman. All of our music was about talking to a woman. We're going to be together forever, girl. It's me and you together. Let's stay together. If you don't speak Spanish, all of that music in Spanish is a brother talking about a woman. She getting on my nerves. We together. She bugging me to death. You going to be my baby forever. Come on, we going to dance. we going to have a big family. That's all our music. The whole damn music. The Isley Brothers, the Stylistics, the Shy Lights, the Blue Notes, the Temptations. That's all our music. Anita Baker, every damn thing. Tony Braxton, Brandy, The Boy Is Mine. I want to be down. You my angel. I'm there with you forever. Ooh, baby, I love you so much. That's all our music. We know how to talk and deal with each other. We started to become white men. That's when we lost our ability to communicate with each other. You understand? Like, this is another symptom of captivity that the Lord said, never join another nation of people. The Lord said, ye are the salt of the earth. But if the salt done lost its flavor, how's the earth going to get its flavor? How is stuff going to get their season? You understand? We made all the inventions and we made Egypt great, and they knew we were so much better than them. And they wanted to crush us. And the more they tried, the stronger we got, and they hated us even more. And now, verse 14, it says they made their lives bitter. How did they make our lives bitter? With bondage. You understand? In mortar and in brick. What is mortar and brick? Construction work. You understand? We were doing construction in ancient Egypt. That's why they saying to this day, aliens built the pyramids. Outer space people built the pyramids. No, Israelites built the pyramids. The same Inca, Aztec, Mayans, the Mississippi mound builders, the Gadites, the Tainos. We built those same pyramids in Egypt, and then we left Egypt and we built pyramids everywhere. We built the Washington Memorial, the Washington Monument, which is a gigantic obelisk, which is a pyramid. We built the Machu Picchu and stones here and all over the Ohio Valley, the Mississippi Valley. Gadites built pyramids and high mounds there. All of these things we built. Let me see if I can get a picture of Egyptian, ancient Egypt. Egyptian. Ancient Egyptian architecture. Said we built for them treasure cities. We making bricks and stone and mortar. All of this stuff, you look at ancient Egypt, you thinking how great the Egyptians were, how wonderful ancient Egypt was. All of that stuff you looking at, tourists coming over to see Egypt, they're like Egypt and Akhenaten and Ramsey and Seti and Horus and Isis and the beautiful Ra and all of that stuff. The Egyptians did not build these things. You see these huge statues and these pictures here. Y'all can see this. Let me know if y'all can see this. Give me one. See all these big temples and all of this stuff. How nice and smooth this brickwork is laid. This is what we did in Egypt. We made brick. We put together these stones. We put together this mortar. We put them together. For hundreds of years we were in Egypt. All of this stone work, all in ancient Egypt, all of these pillars and these temples, all of these statues, all of this architecture and engraving working, all of this stuff here, all that stuff and pictures of Pharaoh, all of these stones that we built, these pyramids, ancient architectures, everybody across the world coming to see ancient Egypt and the old world. We built these things over 300 years of slavery and hard bondage to build ancient Egypt for them. We made these bastards great. And the more we made them great, the more they hated us. The more they tried to destroy us, keep us drugged up and doped up. They had us living in the ghetto, the same ghetto style apartments in them narrow hallways with 6 and 7 apartments in a project. That's the same way we were living in ancient Egypt. Commander General Yohana brought it out. It's a book called The Records of Ancient Egypt. It's something like that, of how the Hebrews lived, how the Hyksos were living in ancient Egypt, all of this beautiful architecture we built for them. And we weren't even welcome in the city. They despised even looking at us. The very essence of who we were made them great, and they hated us. You understand? That's why the Lord said, and they made their lives bitter with hard bondage in brick, all manner of service of the field. What's in the field? Your food, your crops. Your browser has lost connection. Your browser has lost connection to your screen share audio. Try sharing your screen again. Everybody give me a 12 if you can hear me. It says my browser lost connection. Y'all give me a 12 if you can hear me real quick. Just let me know if y'all can hear me, all right? Yeah. Service of the field. We picking crops for Egypt, wherein they made them serve was with rigor. Okay, Most High in Christ. Y'all hear me? Most High in Christ, the water. All right, they go to 12s. Like everything we wanted to do in life, they made it unbearable. There's a way to live in this empire without life being captivity. And it would not hurt America at all. It would not hurt America at all. All this cost of living raises, all this, your rent got to go up every year, your property tax got to go up every year, the price of bread and wheat and all of that. America produced all of those things at one point. They create a program and a grant for architecture, for agriculture, and raise up a farm in another country. They go to America, they pick out some farmland and put together grants and things to try to teach people farming for themselves in the field with aquaculture and agriculture and raise up farms. And then all the prices of the food and the groceries would drop dramatically. All the fruits, all the tomatoes, all of those things, potatoes. It's no reason for food to keep going up. There's no shortage of cattle anywhere. There's no shortage of cattle. There's no shortage of chicken. They forcing the chickens to breed twice as quick. They forcing the chickens to grow twice as big in 1/3 the time. There's no shortage of chicken anywhere in America, or beef, or fish. I raise fish. One pregnant female fish, the fish that you actually eat, like a croaker or a whiting or a perch or salmon, a bass, bluegill, tilapia, crappie. One pregnant female fish, if you breed in fish, that pregnant female can have up to 300 fry at one time. That's a baby fish. Of them 300 baby fish, about 150 of those fish will reach adult sexual maturity within about 11 months or so. Of them 100 and so fish, at least half or more of them fish will be other female fish. And by this time next year, from that one fish, from a handful of fish, by this time next year, you'll have about 10 times as many fish, all still breeding, all still growing, all still multiplying. You'll have so many fish, you'll have to buy 2, 3 more tanks to be able to house them all. You understand? It's the same with chicken. It's the same with chickens. One cow got close to 2,000 pounds on one cow. A normal cow, maybe 1,500, 1,700 pounds. It maybe got 200, 300 pounds worth of bones. Once you get rid of the bones and extract the meat and the organs from the cow, you're looking at close to what? 1,100, 1,200 pounds worth of meat, worth of steak and ribs and Angus and chuck and all of that. That's one cow. They in there mass breeding and artificially inseminating cows, forcing cows to breed and make more cows. You understand? So it's no shortage of anything. All of that is manufactured. And if they wanted to, they can relieve the suffering off of people. They can make government grants and subsidies to house all the brothers and sisters to make sure nobody's living on the street. How do you know this? Because when the Ukrainians over, you ain't never seen the Ukrainians on the TV sleeping on the street, sleeping in tents in the winter in Chicago, sleeping on the floor at the police stations, sitting on the city bus for hours at a time to get warm before they go back out in the Chicago winter, where people freeze to death at bus stops on a regular basis in Chicago winter, dropping below 20 degrees. They living outside, getting bused from Texas to places God knows where. They getting off in shorts and flip-flops coming from the damn tropics. But the Ukrainians, Chicago housed thousands of Ukrainians, and you never see them in the news at all. But they will tell you that poor people, who's our people, are the reason that all the money is being taken away in Chicago is poor. Like they use us for political capital so that they can round up people to hate us and use us to paint as the bad guy. The same way the Egyptians were doing. The Egyptians were saying, if we don't crush them and oppress them, if we don't destroy them and deal crafty and pass legislation with them, then they're going to be strong. They in the Egyptian news, these people are criminals. These people are bigger than us. They super predators. All of these things to diminish our character, so then they can justify abusing us. That's what they did with the Native Americans. They savages. They live out in the wild. They live like wild animals. They out here doing this. Like they use that to justify. They all in the cartel. They gang members. They drug dealers. They use that to justify mistreating and making the people look at us as though we are less than human. So they can then justify, well, I killed one, but these are criminals. I was justified. This is an animal. This was a wild dog on the loose, and I did society a favor by putting him down before he did something terrible. You understand? So that's exactly what the Egyptian did. They did the same thing to us when we were under King Ahasuerus during Esther's day. The damn Haman told them it's a people that disrespects and breaks all of your laws all throughout the empire. They are lawless people with no rules and no morals and no respect for authority or the king. We need to get rid of and unalive all of these people everywhere we find them. This is in the Bible. The same way they talking about us dealing crafty in America, this is what all of the heathen have always done to us. You understand? So we built them treasure cities. We getting stronger and stronger. We building cities. Now they can't get rid of us. They making our lives suffer. They making our lives full of bondage. We working for them. We still getting stronger. Now they get into desperation mode. Verse 15. It says, and the king of Egypt spake to the Hebrew midwives. He's speaking to the Hebrew midwives. Now, because they can't destroy us by oppressing us, they got to go and attack the sisters. That's what America did. That's what the serpent did in the garden. I can't break them down. They in the field working. They working, but they coming home to that sister. They coming home to that family. They coming home. They in oppression, but they still making families. They still getting strong. They still raising up a next generation. We got to find a way to cut them off completely. Now we got to go talk to the sisters that deliver their babies. Like, this is how disgusting the heathen are. And don't think just because right now it's the oppressor that he's the only one. When black people get that confused, well, if we go back to Africa, the Africans, they wouldn't treat us that way. We got to go back home. Just recently, the Ethiopians said, all the black Americans, you can come back to Ethiopia and you will be citizen for Black America. The Kenyans said it. I think Tanzania said it. Kenya said it. Ghana said it. Like, they all playing black people. They all playing black people. So you can take American money and put it in their banks. But when the brothers and sisters from Jamaica wanted to move to Ethiopia, they told them they had to go and live in the woods and did not integrate them into their Ethiopian society and did not give them any benefits as an Ethiopian citizen. You understand? The heathen don't love us. So they said, and the king of Egypt spake to the Hebrew midwives, of which the name of one was Shipra, and the other name was Puah. Talk to Shipra and Puah. Why did he go talk to them? And he said, Pharaoh, this is the president of Egypt now. The president of the whole empire said, and he said, when you do the office of a midwife to the Hebrew women, and you see them upon the stools, because our sisters gave babies on a stool, not like the oppressor got you laying on your back trying to push a baby out up against gravity, which makes no damn sense. That's not how our sisters delivered babies when we were delivering our own children. You understand? You were working with gravity to deliver the baby, not pushing a baby out against gravity. That makes no damn sense. But again, these are heathen, and their job is to make it as unbearable as possible so that they can oppress you now that you look at them as the way out. You understand? Again, this is why we all need to be only amongst our own people. And this is why Joseph told us to live in Goshen and not live join in the Egyptians in their cities. That's why they say we need to get them out of our land. We were in our own place getting strong for hundreds of years, but we still had to work for them because they passed this law. And they said, you do the office of a Hebrew midwives to the Hebrew women, not all women, not all women, not all babies matter, just your people. And when you see them upon the stools, when they giving birth, a midwife is a woman who helps deliver the baby. Sisters are pregnant. It's time for her to deliver the baby. She goes into labor. It's a very vulnerable moment. You understand? They're in all kind of pain. They're having contractions. They're getting ready to deliver this baby. And then this is how disgusting the Egyptians were. Everybody, make sure y'all hit that like, hit that thumbs up, hit the share. You understand? Make sure y'all hit the likes, all right? Everybody hit the likes. It says, if it be a son, when she dropped the baby and you catch the baby and you see it's a baby boy, then ye shall kill him. The president of Egypt just told our sisters that help other sisters deliver the baby to have late-term abortions. They said when that baby, as soon as the baby come out, if you see it's a little boy, then just abort it on the spot. Late-term abortion. It's your right to choose. Just kill it. If it's a boy, just kill it. Just slam it on the ground. That's what they did to our babies. That's what they did to the tribe of Gad. They cut the babies out of the pregnant sisters and bashed the baby's head against the rocks. They slammed the baby's head on the ground and then stomp on the baby's head. That's what they did to us. They did this to us for hundreds of years. And the Egyptians were no different, except we delivered our own babies. It says, but if it be a daughter, then she shall live. Why does he want the daughters to live? The same reason that every government office and building is filled with black women. The same reason all the offices and all the businesses is filled with you doing their labor, because you are going to build up their labor force and make them rich. And you won't have a sense of bringing back wealth to your husband and your people, because you're going to be married to Egypt, because they killed off your husbands. They're working them to death. They're getting them strung out on drugs. They're oppressing them. They're killing off the sons. So you won't have another generation, you understand, of sons that's getting raised up, stronger each generation. This was a government-sponsored program to wipe out the males of our people. This is genocide. This is infanticide. And it's a government-sponsored program that they implemented on us. But they needed the sisters to participate. Never forget that, sisters. They need you to participate in order for it to work. And these sisters, they said to hell with Pharaoh. And the woman said, he told the sisters, you the two chief maids that's in charge, the two sisters in charge of this delivery operation for all the Hebrew women, you the midwives, if it's a male child of your own people, you're supposed to take their life. But if it's a girl, then she can live. You understand? Exodus 1:16. And he said, Salaki, I'm in 17. If it's a daughter, the daughter can live. Now, they're not saying the daughter can live. They're just saying kill it regardless. Give a damn what it is, boy or girl, get rid of it. But instead of Pharaoh saying it, now you say it's your choice. You get to choose. They know by giving you a choice, if you want to kill the baby or not, that you were going to choose to kill the baby. They knew that. That was the whole premise of it. You understand? Pharaoh just said outright, just unalive the baby. The oppressor is the most subtle beast of the field. The Hamites, the Africans, they're not as subtle as the white man, because they're not a white man. They just said, you see, it's a boy, just do him in. Verse 17. But the midwives feared the Most High. You understand? And did not as the king of Egypt commanded them, but saved the men children alive. They said, ain't no way in hell we killing off our own nephews and sons and grandsons and brothers. No way in the hell we killing off our babies. Then the king of Egypt called for the midwives and said unto them, why have ye done this thing? Like he asked the question, why didn't you kill the babies? And he said unto them, why have you done this thing? and have saved the men, children alive. He had to ask this question. This is how much of an animal he was, how much of a conscienceless, soulless beast that this heathen was. These weren't babies to him. This wasn't a precious life the way you think everybody else's life is precious. They don't look at your life as a precious life. They're not looking at your babies as a precious life. These are the same Africans you used to see them feed the children commercials. Who remembers those feed the children commercials? For just 15 cents a day, this young big-headed Hamite right here, you see him? The little big-headed one with the flies in his eyes and his nose. For 15 cents a day, this big-headed alien can eat. He can eat. You see these flies here? All he's had to eat is these flies. But you can help him out. And just for a quarter, he can get a bowl of white diabetes rice from UNICEF. You understand? Let me see if I get that picture up here. Feed the children. You understand? Feed the children Africa. You understand? Feed the children in Africa. See if I can get these pictures, these African babies. Feed the children in Africa commercials. So they come over here and then they'll become the nurses in the nursing home and body slamming your grandma and taking all the money out of her purse. When you too busy working 3 and 4 jobs and oppression that destroyed your family. So you raising kids by yourself. And now grandma is in the nursing home getting beat up. You understand? By some big West African nurse. Let's see if I can get them commercial. Okay, let me get this here. 15 cents a day. They showing them all cleaned up and everything. I'm trying to get one of the good commercials. Now they done washed all of these. These ain't gonna work. Let me just get starving children. Let's see what's there. Starving African children. Oh boy, these pictures is rough. These some rough pictures here. I don't know if I want to put these up here. These are pretty rough. Yeah, these pretty rough here. Put these up. They probably flagged the damn channel for this. These is rough. All right, y'all can go look up starving Africans on your own. But just know they did not give a damn about you as much as you give a damn about them. Big head, big stomach, flies on their eyeballs. It was a hustle. Yeah, they're not giving none of that money to them Africans, man. Oh no, Big Mama took one of them in. Oh Lord. Yeah, we are the world. You know better, you do better. Don't do that. You understand? Don't do that. All right. The king of Egypt, and why have you done this thing? And the midwives said unto Pharaoh, this was their sister's answer. You sisters, all that damn mouth and that attitude. This is what it's for. It's to save the babies, not for you to give all this attitude and stress and a damn stroke to your man because you won't shut your goddamn mouth doing all that damn yelling, causing your kids all kind of high blood pressure and organ deficiencies, listening to your mouth growling all their damn life. You ruining everybody's immune system, barking like a German shepherd all in the damn streets everywhere. This is what that attitude is for. It's to save babies from getting slaughtered in the abortion clinic. You understand? Exodus 1 and 19. Simple Pharaoh asks, why didn't you kill off all your babies? You gonna get a career in Egypt. You was gonna be able to go to school and get your degree. Every other woman in America go to school and get their degree and have a whole family full of kids. The Asian woman, she married, got a bunch of kids. She a doctor. You not. The Arab woman, she in there with the sheet wrapped on her head. She getting jobs, she getting money, she got a bunch of kids. You not. The East Indian woman, she the manager at 3 subways. She sent her kids to school, get a doctorate. She getting married. They forcing her to marry her cousin at 25. She getting married, got a degree, job, business, doctorate. You not. Nobody has to take their kid's life to have a promising future or career. You understand? You're going to end up working 2 jobs to pay off those student loan debts anyway. You understand? Don't fall for the hype. It's not true. You don't have to take your baby's life in order to get a promising career. That is a symptom of captivity. The only reason a woman would have an idea that life might be better if you killed the baby, that comes from the empire. America gives billions of dollars in aid to countries around the world. America bombed and destroyed Afghanistan and Iraq, and then had a budget set aside to help rebuild Afghanistan and Iraq. But the damn Taliban took over, so they weren't going to help them anymore. America bombed Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Then they put together money to pay the families of those victims indefinitely, something like $10,000 a month every year forever. Like, if they wanted to, they would. But they'd rather prefer to make your lives bitter and service in bondage and then tell you that you should unalive your babies. These sisters did not. They feared the Lord. Exodus 1 and 19. And the midwives said unto Pharaoh, because the women, the Hebrew women, our sisters, are not as the Egyptian women. We ain't no damn Egyptian women. The hell you think you talking to? Kill my baby. Kill the baby. Are you out of your mind? Who said that? Pharaoh. Everybody listen to no goddamn Pharaoh. Come, bring her in here. Is she ready? Is she ready to deliver the baby? Ain't nobody thinking about no goddamn Pharaoh. You deliver. Come on, sis. Come on. You ready? You ready? All right. We're gonna push. We're gonna push on 3. All right. Deep breaths. Deep breaths. Breathe. 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 Pharaoh talking about killing baby. Nobody killing no damn baby. Stupid Hamites. And then Pharaoh is a surprise. The Hebrew women are not as the Egyptian women, for they are lively. We alive. We ain't going along to get along. That's not where we come from. And are delivered ere the midwives come in unto him. You babies is alive. We alive. We ain't no African women. You're not just going to tell us, oh, to kill your baby. No, we're not doing that. 20. Therefore, the Most High dealt well with the midwives, and the people multiplied and waxed very mighty. And it came to pass, because of the midwives feared the Most High, that he made them houses. He made them great houses. They had power. And this was Pharaoh. And Pharaoh charged all his people, saying, every son that is born ye shall cast into the river. Every daughter ye shall save alive. You understand? They went out and took our babies and threw them into the river. This is how Moses ended up being raised in Pharaoh's house in Egypt, because the mothers had to put their babies in the river. Pharaoh's mother sent her son, because she had a boy, and she put him in the basket and sent him down the river to save his life. You understand? And this is the story of Moses. This is what ended up happening. She had to hide Moses. You understand? She had to hide Moses and send the baby down the river. She works in Pharaoh's house, helping, you understand, helping the Egyptian women to take care of them, because they don't know nothing about taking care of themselves, washing and bathing and getting clean and smelling good. They don't know nothing about that. That's our customs, to wash every day. That's why we was caring in captivity. We caring for the other nations of people. We teaching them how to wash the babies, how to get clean, how to, be right. That's our laws that civilize the world. You understand? They still taking dumps in their drinking water, wondering why everybody end up with hepatitis. Simple as can be. You understand? Sending money and will receive a letter from him every now and then. Now I got to tell it, yeah, that's a damn scam. Them white families and them Catholic charities, they scamming everybody. They try to, every time they have a flood in the West Indies, they leave the parents on the island and take the kids and say, oh, their family died, but we're going to get you to good families here in Florida. For infertile white families who, you understand, his rod don't work and her eggs is old and they ain't worth a damn, you understand? And they're going to try to give them black families so that they can raise up as good pets. You understand? That's what they do with our people. All right. So we're going to pick this up from here. What does God call slavery? We in Exodus. All right. We in Exodus We're going to end it there in Exodus, the first chapter. Then we're going to pick it up with Moses. All right. We're going to pick it up with Moses. Salakia. I thought I pressed enter on my check-in. Okay, Most High in Christ. All right, the one. Yeah, that's a scam, man. They scamming everybody. Catholic charities, all that's a scam. They lying, hustling, scheming people. After 20 years, you're gonna find out. Listen, they made a documentary on Netflix. They had some white women over there talking about, yeah, she's a doctor. She just showed up and she was white. So she showed up being white around all these Africans. She said, yeah, I'm a doctor. She doing procedures, people dying, people getting sick. She killing everybody. And she was like, oh, I never said I was a doctor. They just assumed I was a doctor. And I just started working on people. Like, they scammers, just like Kamala Harris. They're scammers. They're scammers. They're a race of scammers. The whole time, Jesus Christ is black in the Bible. You ain't never seen a black Jesus Christ at all anywhere. You understand? Until like the 90s. You never seen anywhere Jesus Christ was being black, except for all the old Russian icons which they buried. The rest of the world been seeing a white Jesus for hundreds of years. They're scammers. You understand? So we're going to end it right there. All right. We're going to pick it up here. We're the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. We start out at 1 West 125th Street in Harlem, New York. We are not affiliated with any other Israelite group. We're all under command of Journey Yohana. Rule for new brother and sister. When a brother and sister comes into the school, they're off limits for 6 months. It'll be saluted only. They're here to learn and share themselves with the world. After this 6-month period, if a brother and sister has an interest in a particular person, they're to get counsel from their head to speak to a brother or sister. After this 6-month period, the brother and sister will then get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment in this book of Numbers, Malachi, you understand 10% of every penny of any increase the Most High gives to you, give to the school. Go right to ISUPK.com, pay your tithes. 10% belongs to the Lord. 90% of what you get belongs to you. 10% is not yours. You understand? Give right to ISUPK.com. That is to go to who the Lord put in charge so that they can distribute and take care of the nation, which no one else is doing. All right. Upcoming holy convocations we got coming up next. It should be Hanukkah should be the next one that's coming up, I believe. I think Hanukkah should be the next one coming up. But the High Holy Days departments will notify everyone in their respective times. We're just wrapping up the memorial, the Feast of Tabernacles, Salakia, just wrapping that up. All right. And lastly, if any brother wants to be a trooper in the school, it'll be in all black. Black boots, shirt, pants, headband, war scarf. Contact the ISUPK school, whatever city or state that you are in. Leave a message. You would not call to get a job anywhere and call a phone number and not leave a message. Leave your name, your phone number, your contact information. You understand? And say, I want to be a trooper in the ISUPK. I want to know what can I do. Call the schools. Our school numbers are publicly listed everywhere, just like you can search and find anything else in life that you want. You can search for it and it'll show up right on your Google machine. All right. And if a sister wants to be in the school, she also needs to contact the ISUPK and let them know, I want to be a sister in the school. I want to officially be a sister in the school. You cannot be a trooper, but you do need to contact the school and let the camp leader, whoever's in charge, know that you want to join the school so you can get the appropriate instructions as to what to do. And with that, one courtesy salute to the brothers, men of Israel, Yahweh Hashem Yahushua Barakatham, to the sisters, Yahweh Shamar Al Athan Ba'Hashem Yahushua. Tune in right here Friday night, Hebrew language class, Lashawan Kodash, Officer NATAZACH Quran, Officer Yagador. Teach a hell of a class. Everybody get in there, learn to read, write, speak the ancient Hebrew, the Lashawan Kodash. It is our native language. With that, the word of y'all tuning in. Make sure y'all hit the like, share, and subscribe. With that,
to me. Played the horn of the Lord and served other gods. Remember the days of old, we the lost tribes. They don't believe the Bible, they say a white man wrote it, but still celebrate them holidays from white men, don't they? Like Christmas and Thanksgiving appetites. I don't even see my closest family half the time. Going out ain't an option, I won't compromise. I got integrity and more heart than Valentine. I retweeted a book they sell on Amazon, owned by the same folks that told them to apologize. Remember slaves couldn't read, wasn't allowed, so it's meaning when I tell you I'm black and I'm proud. Murdered us with the sword, that's how we learned religion. Community standards violate my First Amendment. Discontinue from my heritage under these bastards. Life a bitch, they make up lies and give you public lashes. I understand they confused by who the devil is. Why my people get so mad when I tell them this? Valley of dry bones, my niggas skeletons. It's hectic out there, hope you checking on your relatives. Brotherhood, that's what my weapon is. And I never let these crackers take it from you. Real talk, you probably never heard this all of your life. Be careful, cause that thing you love, it'll cost you your life. Long as we got each other, my nigga. Cause we build this shit on brotherhood. Long as we got each other, my nigga.
Yeah.
We build this shit.
Nigga, I done lost family, I done lost friends. Day one, niggas thought was riding to the end. Still showed up, put in that work. Hide behind a smile while I'm walking with this hearse. Some nights I felt alone, most nights I felt cold. Some nights I drove around, I ain't wanna go home. Nigga, I ain't never been, I ain't never fold. Follow orders like a soldier doing what I'm told. Even when the council wasn't making any sense, I ain't never doubted, I just put it to the test. Days I was fucked up and down to my last cent. Reaching in my pockets, only coming up with lint. I'm talking even on the days that I couldn't pay my rent. I put it down for my brothers, ain't spared no expense. If I ever got bent, caused an offense, please forgive you, brother, Lord, that ain't what I meant. See that brotherhood a weapon, fight against deception. When something taken from you, then it's just a blessing. Shorty really loved me, gave me everything she got. And I'm sorry, baby girl, if I ever broke your heart. Man, mistakes that I made, don't know if they'll fade. Moving with a heavy heart, living with the pain. Take away the shame, wash away the stain. Praying to the Lord for the days that I was Cain. Sheesh.
Long as we got each other, my nigga. Cause we build this shit on brotherhood.